Hey guys, my name is Nick and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be going over my top 6 side hustles for 2021. Now, just a little background on the criteria that I had for coming up with all of these side hustles. Number one, all of these are something that I really had in mind for someone that maybe already has a job, finds that they have some time after work or on the weekends, and really just wants to find another source of income. Number two, I wanted to make sure that these are something that you can start seeing cash pretty quickly within a month or so. So it's not going to be something that, takes 6 months to build up before you even see any cash come in. Number three, all of these are something I've either personally done, I plan on doing very shortly, or I know at least one person that's already doing it successfully. With all that said, the first side hustle that I have for you is you're gonna take all your money and throw it all into GameStop weekly call options. This way, just kidding, don't do that. Number one, I have making and selling concrete weights. So I know this is something you probably never heard of before, but with the current situation going on and people not being able to go into gyms and really looking for an alternative to fitness at home, there's been a shortage in weights at stores and people really price gouging all over the internet. So recently I actually got a weight bench, and when looking for weights, I realized that not Walmart, not Target, not Dick's Sporting Goods, nobody had these weights, and anyone on Facebook or Craigslist was looking for an extreme price and obviously price gouging because nobody has them in stock. So I went on Amazon and found that you can buy concrete weight molds to basically make your own concrete weights at home. So that's when I came up with this idea. Basically, it entails making weights at home, putting them on Facebook or Craigslist, and obviously flipping them and selling them for more than you make them. Now, I've done the research myself. It looks like for all in with concrete, the weights, PVC pipes, some other things that you'll need, you're looking at about $75 to $100 on the first round. Now, obviously, once you have those materials, all you'll have to do is buy the concrete and PVC. There's some other minor costs, but once you have those molds, you basically have the biggest expense out of the way, and you can then go ahead and repeat the process. Now, when looking at Facebook or Craigslist, it looks like people are selling weights for about $2 to $3 per pound. So I imagine if you go sell these weights for about $1 a pound, let's say you sell 2 45-pound weights, that's $90 right off the bat, covered your costs, and now all you have to buy is concrete to make your new weights. With this side hustle, depending on where you live and, obviously how long everything goes on and the demand for this stays up, I believe you should be able to make a few hundred to even up to $1,000 per month with this side hustle. Coming in at number two, we have couch and furniture flipping. Within the last 6 months, I personally made a move myself and was on the hunt for things like couches and tables, other furniture, and realized how much of demand there really is on places like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and how much some of these things hold their value when you see couches for thousands of dollars that are used and years old. So the idea behind this is going on to places like Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, finding couches and tables that you can either buy or get for free, and then maybe fixing them up, taking better pictures, and flipping them for a higher amount on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist again. I think one of the best things about this side hustle is that you can basically start with zero if you can get all these couches for free off of the free section, or at least find super cheap ones for, let's say, $20 to $100. Now, one of the constraints that I see with this is if you don't have a big car like an SUV or a truck, you may be constrained on what you can pick up and what you can bring home. Ryan Pineda actually has an awesome video on this, and he outlines how he was actually couch flipping back in the day, and he was making about $8,000 per month. Now, keep in mind, it did take him a while to get up to that. He was sort of running a full operation with renting storage units. He had trucks going. But I think this is something that you could get into relatively cheaply and even see, a couple hundred to a couple thousand your first few months. I'll also link Ryan's video below if you do want to look more into this side hustle. Coming in at number three is flipping unopened sports cards. I recently made a video where I checked Target and Walmart just about every single day until I could find some sports cards. So that really tells you about the demand there are for these things to begin with. Now, what I did is I split the packs to see if there were any valuable cards to sell on eBay. which I think, you know, we probably about broke even if I were to sell all those cards individually. But I think the more consistent way to make money with this is actually selling those cards as whole packs. You're not going to get, you know, as crazy of returns, but they may be more consistent. The one obstacle I do see with this side hustle is that it can be tough to find cards in stores. Now, I actually have a friend that does this very consistently and makes a decent amount of money, but he did find someone at Target that let him know on when they deliver cards each week, so he is able to go in there and scoop up all the new cards and then either break those and hope that he gets a good card or sell them online. So if you can get an in and figure out when Walmart or Target gets their deliveries, you're set. You could basically buy those and flip them every single week for consistent cash. Coming in at number 4 is flipping items from estate sales. I say estate sales because they do differ from garage sales in the sense that people are usually trying to get rid of everything. Sometimes it's outsourced companies that come in to clear house. Sometimes it's when people pass away and the family just needs to get rid of most things in the house. And what I find with estate sales is that when they want everything to go, you're sort of doing them a favor by taking things, and a lot of the times they don't know everything that's in the house. I actually recently did this myself at an estate sale where I found a pack of cameras that the family really didn't want anymore. I told them I'd give them 20 bucks for it, and opened the pack when I got home and found 4 cameras as well as about 5 lenses. So that will go on eBay for about $200 and I only paid 20. So obviously you can do the math. It's a pretty good flip, and I don't think this is something that's rare. I think it's pretty easy to find. Go on Facebook Marketplace, figure out where the estate sales are around you, and I bet you can find one probably coming up within the next 2 weeks. Coming in at number 5 is building Shopify stores for people selling at farmers markets. This is something I have personally done myself. I actually got a bottle of hot sauce gifted to me from my girlfriend when she went to a farmer's market. Ended up really liking the sauce and wanted to figure out where I could get more, but couldn't find any website online to order it. So I went on the hunt, ended up finding the person's email, reaching out to them, telling that I could help with all their online presence, building their Shopify store, and basically the rest was history. So I ended up building their store for them. I think I got about $250 out of it, but what I really got was experience on, you know, how I can do this in the future, how this could be a scalable business, and the need for it on the market. So a lot of these people, you know, they're great at the product they make, whether they make soap, pasta, you know, sauce, whatever it be, but a lot of them don't understand, you know, how to build a website, how to sell online. So that's where you can come into play. Here's how you can personally do this yourself. Now, I would start with a 14-day free trial from Shopify just to learn all the basics. There's tons of YouTube tutorials out there, and basically learn it from A to Z and exactly how you can bring value and, you know, really run a business through this Shopify store. Now, once you feel comfortable and actually feel like you can bring value to one of these sellers, this is the time that you need to go out and find customers. Now, I think the best way to do this would be to put your feet on the ground and maybe go out with some business cards to actual farmers markets. Now, obviously, a lot of them are already going to be selling online, but there's going to be a few that probably aren't, and that's where you come into the picture. This is something you can get into very quickly. Obviously, there is some skill involved and some learning involved with learning how Shopify works and really how to build a store. But once you have that going and maybe you get your first customer or your first 2 customers, I really think this thing can have a snowball effect. You could even build it into an agency, but it really depends on how much time you want to put into it. I could see a couple hundred to even a few thousand per month with this side hustle. Number 6, and last but definitely not least, is flipping digital real estate. And when I say digital real estate, the 2 primary things that I would focus on are Instagram accounts as well as website domains. I personally flipped an Instagram account, and here's how I did it. I started out messaging probably about 100 or so different accounts that range from about 15,000 to 100,000 followers. Basically sent them a DM, may have gotten a little spammy, but said, hey, are you looking to sell your account? Most of the time, you're not going to get any response, and that is completely normal. Most people aren't looking to sell their accounts and are probably making money off them themselves. Now, I did end up getting a response after a few days from one account that said, hey, I'm not looking to sell this account, but I do have another account for sale. So after some negotiation, I ended up buying that account. I think it had about 95 1,000 followers, and I paid about $300. Now you can go to websites like Social Blade to see what the follower interaction is and see, you know, how well this account performs. There's lots of different indicators on if it is a good account or if there's a lot of fake followers. So definitely do your research before you come up with a price. Now, over the next 3 weeks, I'd post probably about 2 to 3 times a day, interact with my followers, try to respond to things, talk to other accounts that were in a similar space, work with shout outs. I even sold a few sponsored posts from e-commerce brands that were just sort of a bonus on top of my whole flip strategy. So after about 3 weeks, I put the account on a website called FameSwap. This is basically just a marketplace for selling digital accounts like YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. The legalities of it, I'm not going to get into that and how it exactly works, but ended up getting an offer for $600. So at the end of the day, give or take, I made about $350 on that for about 3 weeks of work, but only about, I'd say, 2 hours a day. Whether that was a good use of my time, it definitely opened up my eyes to see how much digital real estate is worth, and you know, there's definitely money to be made here. Along with Instagram accounts, I think there's still a huge opportunity in selling website domains. Now, this is something that's obviously been going on since the beginning of the internet, with people buying a domain and selling it to someone else. Typically, it's a desired name that someone wants to use. So, you know, we've all heard the stories about a domain selling for millions of dollars because a certain brand needed it. There's obviously a lot of people out there doing this because it's been around for so long, but I still think that there's money to be made. So there's lots of websites and lots of tools out there to try to find websites. And I'll give you an example here. I recently found that MagicSeattle.com is for sale. So that's something you can buy it for about $9 on Namecheap.com. This is a website. I could definitely see a brand in Seattle that maybe has a magic store or is a magician or runs sort of magic show. It's a website that might be valuable to them. So if you bought it for $9, went on Google, found an email list of all these different people in Seattle that may find this website useful, go ahead and send them out an email, say, hey, I have this. Maybe you only get $50 for it, maybe $200, but it's sort of minimal work for a pretty decent return. Rinsing and repeating with buying and selling these Instagram accounts as well as domains, I think you should easily be able to pull in a few hundred to even a few $1,000s with this side hustle. Hey guys, if you're still here, I really appreciate it. If you could drop a like and also a comment if you do want me to make another video going into more depth and maybe even trying out one of these side hustles for a video. If you could also subscribe, it would mean a lot to me, and peace.